Welcome back to the Owner Seat Podcast, where operators and franchise leaders get the real truth about what it takes to scale without breaking the business or the people inside it. Today's episode is for anyone building in fitness and wellness who's tired of those highlight reels, the hype, the fluff. Because behind every 700 members in 6 month story, there's a grind nobody posts about. Recruiting the right leaders when you can't afford mistakes, pre-sale momentum when the market isn't cooperating, churn pressure that shows up after the first hype wave, and the operational discipline it takes to run multiple studios like a platform. My guest today, I'm so excited, Kory Angelin. Oh, wait a second here. I got to do it, Kory. I got to do it. There we go. I love it.
There we go.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, we got Kory Angelin, president and CEO of CoreHaus Fitness. I know you got bicep strength because that was hard, and one of the clearest voices in the industry on what actually drives growth, people, process, and member experience. Kory has spent decades in the trenches building and scaling fitness businesses, including leadership roles, supporting franchise performance at F45 training, and serving as president at the DRIPBaR. Along the way, he's developed a reputation for being unusually direct, which I love about him. You'll feel the energy today. And he talks about what works and what fails. Take a look at what they're doing at CoreHaus Fitness, Club Pilates. It is amazing. He's building something bigger than any other portfolio. If you haven't noticed, he's building a franchise OS, as I like to call it, an operating system other owners like you can learn from. So, Kory, welcome to the Owner Seat Podcast, sir. Man, I'm so pumped.
Woo! You know what gets you pumped, Albert, is that popper, right?
Yes.
I'm not king,
Yeah,
but
that was scary. I thought I was going to take my eye out.
unbelievable. Quick side note there, Albert. I just recently did a little popper event in DC because we just hit another milestone there. A couple,
Excellent.
5, 6, 700 members in the first 3 months. So we're outside the studio, and people are walking. We do the popper, and some dude walks up and he's like, "You gonna clean that up?" I'm like, "Come on, man! Stop ruining my moment. Stop ruining the moment because now I got to do it again. You just ruined the content." But thank
Oh,
you
my
for
God.
having
That's
me.
really
This
fun.
is not going to be boring. I will tell you that. I am passionate about thought leadership and what I love about you, Albert. And I know we have some crossover on some previous industry legend businesses. Like I think you worked at Lifetime for a little bit,
Right.
and Gold's Gym, and so we could talk a little bit about that. But
Yeah.
but I love thought leadership. I always tell my friends and colleagues that are in the industry that we're all in, like if you're not doing something to put yourself out there, like it's a crime. Like, get yourself out there. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's a podcast or just some quick content on Instagram. But like, I love what you're doing, so love to be here.
Awesome. Well, it's such a pleasure. And you're right. I mean, for the owners out there, get out there, put your personal brand out there, and then just learn, right? It's a good opportunity for us all to share not just the highlights, as I was mentioning earlier, but this is a grind. Kory, every time you do that popper, there's a story behind it, right? It's not rainbows and butterflies. Now, granted, you might have a great system and operating system, but there's going to be things that happen. And that's what we need to share with each other because entrepreneurship, building a platform, a franchise portfolio, it is not easy. And I think in today's world, when you see what you see on TikTok and YouTube, I feel like a lot of the things that we see makes entrepreneurship look sexy and easy, and it is just really not. And so that's what we do at the Owner
Right.
Seat.
Yeah, 100%. And I will, ultimately, it's can you weather the storm in
Right.
what you do, and for whatever business, right? Really, and so yeah, I'm happy to speak about a lot of things, and everything we're going to talk about today is stuff that's really genuine and authentic, and no offense to the other guests you've had. Listen, I love Albert's previous guests. Let me just get that out of the way right now. But I am going to drop some knowledge bombs today. I'm going to give you some great quotes today because I just love talking about this type of stuff.
Mhm.
So let's do it. Fire away.
Okay. Well, I'll jump in. Yeah. So most owners and many watching the show, they'll say, I want multiple locations. Maybe they have multiple licenses, right? In your opinion, as you've gone through this over and over, what's the first mindset shift going from an operator to a platform builder?
I love that question because here's the real answer to that mindset shift. It goes from running a studio
Mhm.
to can you run studios without you having to be there? And that's
Mhm.
really what it comes down to. Like the problem I see a lot is like people at in the executive level or an owner for that is they want to be in the business all of the time, but it doesn't really say a lot into who you're hiring. If you're hiring the right people, empowering the right people, this whole mindset shift for me came probably in my days at Lifetime. So I'm gonna tell you first golden nugget here, Albert. First
Yeah.
phenomenal story I love to talk about. My friends always laugh because I say the same thing, anytime I'm speaking somewhere, but it's so true. One of my idols in business is Simon Sinek. And in fact, on my wall is a big quote from Simon Sinek. He's a great business entrepreneur. And he always says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And when I first heard it, I wasn't really much into quotes. I was probably in my 30s and whatever, but it's really true, right? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so I started to think about how do I get that mindset in business? And I always think about Starbucks, and I'm sure you might have
Mhm.
heard me say this, but I'll say it again because every single day I go to Starbucks. I was already there this morning after I
Oh, I
worked out,
need mine.
got there about 6:15, but it's not because I love the coffee. So then people go, Corey, why do you go to Starbucks? Why do you talk about Starbucks all of the time? It's because I go there for the experience. Like that's the mindset
Yeah.
a business owner needs to have, especially in a franchise, because the experience at Starbucks for me doesn't mean everyone. For me, it's all about like you can go in there and if you think about what you can do there, it's more than just coffee. You can sit and get stuff accomplished in your life. You
Mhm.
can sit down and do job interviews there. I've gone on dates there back in the day before I was married. Um, you can do a ton of things to get stuff done in your life. People go there and they do term papers and they're playing on their computer and or they're just, shooting a conversation with their friends.
Mhm.
Get online and you speak a different language. Albert, do you speak different languages?
I do. I speak Spanish.
That's great. I speak Spanish, but only when I'm in a Starbucks because I say things like grande bacon, venti macchiata. I guess I speak Italian too.
That's hilarious.
I don't say those things outside of the walls of a Starbucks, right?
Mm.
I even call the people that work there something special. Albert, do you know what we call the people there who
What do you
work
call them?
baristas. We don't say employees, we say baristas. I love
Yeah,
that, right?
I love
So
it.
so when you think about that mind shift, it's really like, how can you instill that in the people that you hire to create a great experience to shift from you not having to be there?
Yeah, it's so good. And so operator to platform builder. And so that requires also though things that you need to stop doing as a leader, as a founder, as an owner, if you're committing to scaling. And what did you learn, Corey, as you were going through all of this? Like, what do you find that owners and founders need to just stop doing outside of, hey, doing everything yourself, right? It sounds like that's what you're mentioning is you got to find the A plus people. What else do they need to stop doing?
Yeah, the number one thing that you need to stop doing is stop solving daily fires. Stop
Mm,
solving everything that happens during the course of the day because some might call that micromanaging. So, for me, it's always been driven by like, I always felt like I am the best at accomplishing a task. And therefore, I'm not going to allow my GM or someone do that, even though they're perfectly capable of doing that. And that's why I hired them.
yeah.
So, you got to leave all of that stuff alone. And so, what I started to do is first, number one, measure everything, right? Everything is measured by KPIs. And,
Mm,
I'll talk a little bit about my lifetime days. Lifetime, I always say, is the best place to learn the business of fitness. And the reason why is because there's so many ancillary businesses
right.
within that business. As a department head there, we didn't just sell personal training. That was like, that was a given. It's like we sold nutritional products, metabolic testing, heart rate monitors, like you
Yeah.
name it, we were selling it, right? And so it really, you really have to learn what those KPIs are, those core KPIs. And so stop trying to put out daily fires, empower your team. And on the flip side, if you as long as you're measuring everything, you could come up with a good strategy if you need to course correct or stay on the same path, depending upon what the revenue stream looks like.
I love that. And there's a lot of multi-unit franchisees that watch this and get some good nuggets from people like you that are just in and day out. And what do you find? What are some of what are some of the core things that separates those multi-unit operators that just continue to grow, continue to crush it from maybe those that are stalling. Some people that listen to this, they've reached out. It's like, I'm so glad I watched that because I was just in this plateau. I just couldn't take it to the next level. What is it? What have you found is the thing that just differentiates the ones that just continue year after year to perform, and they have the same demographic, they
Yep.
have the same problems we're all going through. What do you see?
Let's talk about the two warning signs, first of all,
Yeah.
of where an owner or a business goes wrong. And so if you're an owner out there and you're not performing well, you might not want to hear this, but unfortunately you should. And here's what they are. Number one, if an owner is in the business every single day, and I know this sort of sounds counterintuitive, you didn't hire the right people. And you'll always notice my theme always comes back to hiring the right people.
Always.
It's an
Yeah.
important piece of the business, and it's what I'm most passionate about. And it's what I spend the majority of my day doing. Um, but that's the reality. And I worked for a couple of years at F45. Is one of the best jobs I ever worked. Unfortunately, they scaled really fast in the US, and that's a common problem. But
Yeah.
I often found myself on the phone with owners, really stressed out because they just couldn't afford marketing or and you can tell they just didn't understand how to manage the business. The reality that they didn't hire an expert like a general manager to be in the business. And so what they did is they showed up every day and tried to do all of that stuff themselves, but the reality was they weren't really versed in that industry, right? A lot of these people have a lot of money, they have a passion for fitness, but they don't know the business of fitness. And so that's number one warning sign is if you feel like you have to be there every day. But number two, inconsistent numbers across the board, right?
Mm.
I mean, and you've probably seen this with your finance background now, but like we've almost done a couple of acquisitions. Let's say it's a 4 or 5 studio acquisition, and 2 studios are crushing it. They have great EBITDA year over year. 2 studios are underperforming significantly. Month over month growth isn't there. One has an attrition of 3%, which is awesome. One has an attrition of 20%, which is terrible. You're bleeding members. Like, what is happening? Right. And so when you have an owner that's there every day, you have inconsistent numbers, like that's a big problem. Now, I will tell you, when you think about stalling, because I think what you had said was like, what separates the people that stall from the people that win? I'll tell you this. I feel like the owners that stall ultimately are just chasing growth, whereas the people that are focusing on building infrastructure. And really, to me, that's what it comes down to. Like if you're working and building a pipeline within the business, you're doing something great.
Yeah. Let's pivot to that first point, and because I do want to come back to infrastructure. That is such a good that's a great topic that I'd love to chat with you about. And as you've built this massive platform, infrastructure is a huge point. But you're right. And I worked at Lifetime like you, and yes, there's an intense focus on, we call it, but recruiting, the onboarding process, finding the best people. And so, what have you found while you worked there as you were learning through that journey as well as what you do now? Where do owners get it wrong as they're getting ready for launch and pre-sale and all of that? Like you even mentioned it. You mentioned the general manager, maybe it's the studio leader, like how important that is to cast the best person. And I know it's a case by case basis and maybe even a brand by brand. It just depends. But what are some of the things that you look for that you teach your team? Here's what we need to find. Here's who we need on our team. Here's what's going to take us to that next level. Not only just pre-sale launch, but long term.
Yeah, I mean, this is what drives me every day. So I'm super. I got a good pump this morning, Albert. Did you work out today, Albert? Do you work out yet?
I this is bad, y'all. I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna even edit this. I skipped today. I was so tired.
I
It
mean,
was so
I'm
bad.
getting on Albert's podcast. Like I'm
I'm getting my text this morning, and they're like, "Where are you? What happened?" I'm like,
that's weak. But all right, I forgive you today. I mean,
"Thank you.
I was crushing it
I
today,
do it too, y'all."
but this is like a pump for me. What I'm about to talk about, right? Like a couple things I learned from Lifetime too. Just going back to that, 2 quotes I love: A's hire A's, but B's hire C's. What does that mean? Pretty self-explanatory, but interviewing people is a skill, and it's a skill that literally took me 20 years to learn. The old days of me in Lifetime, Albert, I was crushing it, man. I was doing 20K a month, leading the country. We had about 105 lifetimes at that point in revenue as far as a department head on the fitness side of the business.
Yeah.
You know what the problem was? My team was averaging $2,000 a month. So what does that say to me as a leader, right?
Mhm.
And I also wasn't great at interviewing. I thought I was. I was asking all these things that you can Google and, situational and the STAR method and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. But the reality is this: um, when I talk about A's, higher A's, it's not really about like I get the situational stuff and I get the resumes, but let's be honest, when they get to me, I'm assuming all that stuff is in place already,
Mhm.
right? Um, so that's great. They have a great resume. What I want to know is what is your work life balance?
Mm.
Why I asked that question, let me throw it back to you for a second. Um, because you're a great guest, Albert. Like you should be on a ton of podcasts yourself, not just running them, right? Why do you
Yeah.
think I want to know what an employee's work life balance is like?
I think time management, how they prioritize certain things, right?
Right? You know what?
And also too, what are their motivating factors?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's often overlooked when you're interviewing someone. And here's what I love about my career path. I've been in every single role, from front desk to um, trainer, assistant department head, district manager, regional manager, and then my goal was always to be in the C suite level, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I had 16 jobs in my career, but every job was a step up. But what I learned is the grind, and you kind
Mm.
of alluded to it in your intro, right?
Right.
When you go through the grind, it's never a fun place to be in. Now it builds character and work ethic, but it's never a fun place to be in. And I don't ever want an employee of mine to feel like it's a grind.
Mhm.
Now, there are times when you can't do anything about it. It's closeout or it's Black Friday, biggest promotion of the year, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But I love to understand what do people like to do outside of work? So that's one of the main questions I ask. And it's funny when you ask that question. Some are cookie cutter answers, some really go in depth and love playing with my dog, or I have kids and whatever. But that's important because you can tell if there's a stressor that might get in the way of what they need to be doing at work,
It's
right?
good to know what's important to people, right? And I think a lot of people miss that is what's important to them. How are they motivated? What is their motivating factor? How can you recognize them? Like there's a lot of great things that you can pick up during the casting, during the interview process, right?
And
Now,
hey, let's be honest, owners mostly, if you don't have that right infrastructure, hire for convenience, right? Like, oh, I get
mm,
all right, corporate tells me I gotta hire a GM. All right, let me put a
yeah,
link
yeah. It's
for
it's as
Indeed out
quickly as
there.
possible. Let's see
Right.
whoever's in the pipeline, they have a great chance right now. And that's the wrong way to do it. And you know what? You make me think about something in the day of AI, right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of owners I've found too will just go strictly off the resume. Like, oh man, it's if it wasn't already freshened up, right, and to look really good, made to look really good, AI is giving it another push there, and so you really got to ask the right questions when you're spending time with people, so that you can hear it from them as they're communicating it. What are your thoughts on that? Where don't we don't want to get head faked by just a resume, what's on paper.
I
What are
mean,
some
let's
of the
be
things?
honest, right? I'm looking at Instagram, LinkedIn. If you're a manager and you don't have a LinkedIn, you're doing yourself a disservice, right?
Yeah,
LinkedIn is I think, a hugely underutilized platform. I love LinkedIn.
me too.
I do a lot of content on LinkedIn, much like yourself, and I think it's really underutilized. So, ultimately, actively listening, like what you alluded to like what a person is saying to you. And I don't honestly base a lot of stuff off of a resume. I mean, again, a resume is going to get you in the door, but ultimately, that book is closed now. Like,
Yeah,
let's focus on what is your motivating factors, what drives you, what have you taken from your past experiences? Like you'll always hear me talk about my past experiences, F-45, lifetime, because they were great learning lessons in my career journey.
yeah. It's so good. Now, what are your thoughts around just, and I hear this a lot, I actually was just reviewing a pretty large team member survey here the other day, and there's always the compensation piece that comes up in our industry. And what I've learned about your platform as I've done my research is people are really happy, well, fairly compensated and even more so. But how do you build that? Is that a variable compensation where people are tied to, results? Like how should the industry relook at how we pay our team members so that they feel really a part of the success or where the organization's going.
Yeah, I think it's twofold for me personally, right? Like there's a level of, well, it has to make sense, right? And
Mhm.
so um compensation needs to align with like operational efficiency. Like what's your total operating cost to stay a business? Right. And so there's that level of like, okay, well, it has to make sense. But and then there should be some motivating factors because ultimately what I always love to tell people in business, whether in the fitness industry, whether you're a trainer, an instructor, a front desk manager, or a sales associate. We're all in sales. And that's a word that I love
Yeah.
because there's that misnomer about what that word means. People don't like that word. Years ago, I wrote a book, and the book was on customer experience. And people are like, "Why did you write a book on customer experience?" I'm like, "Because without it, it does not matter what your business sells.
Right.
If the experience isn't there, they're not going to buy it." And so
Mm.
there should be that sort of performance-based bonus, right? That's a little bit of that motivation. There should be a fair compensation for a base. Maybe that's a base salary, like we give our general managers. And maybe in some models, there's some profit sharing. I don't, I think it's a little combination of at least that's what's worked for us for a long time. And one of the reasons why we adopted that is that's what I went through my whole career. I love knowing that I had something that's coming in. I love knowing that I can rely on my own behavior, and education and fortitude and what I was going to do in terms of driving sales. And then as I got up the ranks into like more management and regional stuff, there was more profit sharing, which really excited me. And so,
I
and lastly, my last point on you know the employees in general, I always tell someone there's two reasons why most people leave a job. It's one, lack of support.
mm,
um, and that's a huge thing. People wanna just feel supported. And
yeah.
then 2, lack of professional growth. So what I always tell our people when we're interviewing is like, here are the numerous amounts of one-on-one coaching sessions that we do to help you and support you. And then here's where you can grow. We want to be at 100 studios. That means 100 GMs, regionals, and so there's always a place for a person to think about where they can get to, because without that, what are we doing?
Yeah. That's a good point, and I'm hearing this a lot more. I mean, just in the last 6 months, 'cause and people don't know that, or maybe not don't know this, I do, strategic on the finance side, but I also have that operational angle as well. I've ran studios and clubs and all of that, and so I love getting into the member experience, and surveys are my biggest thing.
Yeah.
And so I look at that because I do believe there's financial implications to that as well, um, in a favorable or unfavorable way. But what I'm noticing from the next layer of team member, you know, generations and all of that is it's not just the career pathing vertical. They're actually wanting versatility. Is how are you developing my skill sets and what does my horizontal path look like, right? If it's let's speak of lifetime. If it's cafe today, how am I being taught how to work in the spa, or how am I being taught how to work in the aquatics programming, and how can I learn that side of the business? And so I think for the owners listening, it's something to think about as you have multi departments, maybe even more multi units, right? Is for those that want to grow, it's not necessarily always about, well, I want to get promoted. It's like, no, I want to learn my skill set. And what they're realizing with this day of AI is, well, shoot, that role there that I'm doing today may not even exist later. So I want to learn this one too. So I have that versatility
Yeah,
to
that
be
that
able.
brings another great quote I always try to remember, which is like, coach them up or coach them out. And at first, when you hear that, I used to hear like coach them out, like we don't want to get rid of people.
Right.
What I find that when owners are getting rid of employees or they're firing employees, their go-to line is like, "Oh, like they just didn't work out, like they can't get it," or they're where I would love for owners to have a little bit of personal introspective and think about like, well, did you do
Mm,
all of what you could have done to coach them up? Now, if you tried to do as much coaching up as possible and they still couldn't get it, fair enough.
right.
This role isn't for them. And like a great example of one of my favorite examples of coaching up an employee to kind of put some specificity to it is like, I have a rock star regional GM right now. She was my first ever hire. She's a
Yeah.
rock star. I picked her from 24 Hour Fitness.
What's her name? Let's give her a shout out.
Her name is Kara. She
Yeah.
thinks I get on her case all the time, but it's because I believe in her and I challenge her. She'll always say, "Corey, you challenge me." I'm like, because I think so highly
Yeah.
of
Yeah, that's
you."
good.
And early on, this is something that a lot of employees do when they approach their general manager, for example. They'll say, "Hey, there's a great event at the park or the mall, and we can have a table there." And then the GM or someone will be like, "Okay, well, how much is the table?" It's $1,000, but I think we'll get a lot of leads from it.
Mm,
And I'm like, "Okay, let's stop right there. You telling me you think is not
like that.
really going to cut it." And then, Kara looked at me the first time this happened years ago, and she's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I go, "Well, how do I justify the cost of $1,000? Let's take a moment and coach you up, right? So
Mm,
it costs $1,000. How many leads do we need to make that back?" And then we reverse engineer that, right? We need
yeah.
this amount of leads. If we're going to close at 50% and the average membership is $200, it takes 10 people to get, right? And so when she approaches me now, man, it's like,
Business proposals.
oh, it's exactly. It's a whole business plan. It's a proposal.
Love it.
But that's a great example of like, are we doing our job coaching people up?
So good. Well, I mean, these, like I was mentioning in the beginning, these things are rockets, man. And
Ah,
I love when I get to see your posts as you're celebrating a milestone or a launch. But here's the thing, right? And I was mentioning at the top here is it's a great celebration, but what people don't recognize, and you know this best, is as you're leading into the build out and the pre-sale and launch, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, right? There's the unsexy part of it all that people aren't mentally prepared for as they're thinking about, wow, I want to own a franchise, I want multiple units, I want to expand. It's a lot of work that goes into it. So do you mind sharing just what's the unsexy part of and the things that have gone wrong, maybe some specifics you may have, construction and build out to pre-sale to launch.
if there's one clip you're going to take away from this, clip this moment right here. So for anyone listening, I'm telling you right now, you should get a pen. I consider myself, this is just being confident, one of the best pre-sale strategists in the country.
Love it.
Period. End of story.
Yep.
Why? I will tell you to be humble because I failed a million times before now.
Mm,
All right. So it's not just me being confident. There's a level of failure to that. And what I always tell people is always fail fast. You're gonna fail. Do it, learn something from it. I've learned a ton from it. Now, I mean, we just started pre-sale 3 days ago in a territory called Howard Beach, New York.
yeah,
Um, we hit 175 members in 2 days, 200 members in 3 days.
amazing.
That's crazy. Now, there's a lot that goes into it, but here's why. So here's what I'm going to tell people. Pre-sale is three things, right? It's three things and three things only. It's math, it's urgency,
Mm,
repetition. Okay. It's math, it's urgency, and repetition. So what do I mean by that? There are some core things you need in place to succeed in any pre-sale. It does not matter whether you're in boutique fitness, you're in big box fitness, or you're in any business. If you have a pre-sale, for us, it's 4 or 5 months prior to us opening. In the
excellent.
old days, it used to be 2 or 3. And what I
Mm,
found is that there are early adapters. There are early adapters that will buy a year before you open. So
oh yeah.
why not take advantage of those people, right? So here are my sort of my 4 or 5 components. Let me say this. Do you want to hear my 4 or 5 components?
Oh
Like,
man, you know people are like leaning in right now. I mean, this is application, and you're right. If you're not writing this down, or I always say if you're not AI transcribing it, you should be because this is what you want to take back to your team. And there's a lot of people that watch this that are about to go, and it's like they're about 6 months away. It's like, oh shoot, I thought I was going to do pre-sale 3 months from now. No, 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 you're going to do it now. You're going to start today as you
yeah,
prep this stuff. So this is
yeah.
good.
We,
This is
in fact,
really
we
good
have
for you.
studios opening 6 months from now, 5 or 6. We just started pre-sale now. So
Yeah.
here's component number one. I'll talk a little bit about marketing, right? And you need digital marketing, like we all know, and you need a grassroots marketing. But
Mm,
because you need digital marketing, component number one is you need a dedicated sales rock star.
mm,
Dedicated. And all they do is handle your digital leads. So I'll tell you what that means. So we hired a company, great relationship I have. They're called the sales arm, and you could hire a dedicated manager And all they deal with is the digital leads that are coming in during your pre-sale. So they call those leads, they text those leads, they have conversations with those leads, and they sell memberships to those leads. We had such a rock star that we actually hired her on our corporate team. Her name is
Mhm.
Tori. A big shout out to Tori.
Kory.
All Tori does in pre-sale is handle those digital leads. So you have to have a dedicated person to do that. Number two, you have to have a good.
Before you go to number 2, I'm just curious on what you've seen because we've both been around the industry for a long time. Are you seeing a significant, massive shift to digital lead
Yes.
versus that walk-in?
Yeah, prior to COVID, and you know this, Albert, you've probably done a million of these. Pre-sale in the old days was like the team you hired, right? You would not only have to deal with all your digital leads, but you'd also have to go out in the community and do grassroots events.
Right.
Having the dedicated person to do digital, do you know what that allows your staff to do? Just concentrate on grassroots.
Love it.
So,
I
but
love that.
component number two, because you have a dedicated sales rock star, you need a good lead management system.
Mm.
For us, we use Loyal Snap, and all that means is that
Yeah.
when Tori gets all these leads coming in, 20 leads a day, how is she managing those leads? We have found that with a system like Loyal Snap, and there's a million out there, um, you can customize a dashboard. So visually, Albert, it's really easy to see where in those timelines or those buckets those leads sit. Did they just come in today? Are they in day 3? Are they in day 7, 30, 60, whatever it is? Okay, so that's component number 2. You gotta have a good lead management system that
Yeah.
integrates with your POS system.
Yeah,
Great.
shout out to Loyal Snap. That's a good it's a great group over there.
Should they love me? I should get it for free, really, because I give them so
You guys hear that?
but that's neither here nor there. Component number 3, you need, and you'll love this, lead response cadence. What is your cadence? And this drives me up.
Oh,
So I'm telling you right now, stop not getting back to leads. Right?
I'm gonna do that today. I'm getting one of those now. See, I got your popper. Now I'm getting the
Even
blowhorn.
better. Because how many times, and here's the stat I always love. It takes 10 to 12 touch points, depending on what research study you've looked at, in sales to get a lead to engage or to come in, right? Like that's just a standard statistic. It takes 10 or 12 touch points. That means it's going to take you a combination of 10 to 12 calls, texts, emails, conversations to get that person to either buy or engage.
Right.
Problem with that statistic is the average salesperson gives up after 2 or 3 times.
Mm.
You're not even giving yourself a chance. So for the owners out there that think their front desk is managing leads well, you should know what your lead cadence is, right?
Mhm.
For us, we have a message, and this isn't anything that most people don't know, but it should be a good reminder, right? We have that automatic message that goes out right away, followed up with a phone call. That's right. People still use the phone, and you should be calling people, right?
And leave a voicemail.
And leave a voicemail, right?
I love reading the transcripts. I may not answer your call, but I love those transcripts when you leave.
This is
Actually, I have a little
phenomenal.
AI agent now that
I love that
sounds
you
like
said that.
yeah.
That reminds me, I used to present in front of salespeople, and they used to say, if you left 10 voicemails, do you have a chance of someone calling you back? And people would be like, yeah. If you didn't leave 10 voicemails and you just didn't leave any messages, would anyone call you back? And the answer is no. So leave
Absolutely
voicemails,
not.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so and we have a cadence. We touch base with people day 1, day 2, day 3, day 7, day 14, day 30, day 60, day 90, and day 120. Period. Now that doesn't mean we're calling and texting all of those days, but it's a combination of all that, right?
Mhm.
That's component number 3. Component number 4 is marketing. We already have our digital taken care of with Tori. It allows our staff now, you got to be out in the community, grassroots events. 2 events a week, 4 to 8 a month is my SOP, my gold standard, which is great. That can mean you're setting up a table in Whole Foods when the weather's nice out. It can mean you're outside in the community doing an event at a park, whatever it is. And then finally, 5, you have to measure everything, right? Because that's really going to drive the
Yeah.
strategy. So
Yeah.
you have to understand what those KPIs are. How many leads are coming in? How many did you convert? And so if it's not measured, it's not real. Those are the 5 keys to success if you want to do a great pre-sale. Clip that, put it on YouTube, Albert.
Very
We're
good.
good to go.
Oh, it's going on YouTube and everywhere else that we stream out and from Captivate to Apple Podcast, Spotify. You will get it. Now, I'm curious around partnerships because You seem to be very invested at each location that you're at and with the teams that you have. There seem to be very embedded into the community. What's your strategy around that? Should the owners listening to this, you talk about different events and all of that, but how do you actually get partnered with others that can help build pre-sale and just the success long term?
Yeah, number one, I think it's a great time, right? We talk about social media. So
Right.
obviously, I love social media on the business side. Most of my content has to do with business, which is one of my passions. But like when you start the business, I, I I think a big mistake owners make is that they don't. Number one, they don't put themselves out there, and we could certainly talk about that. But number two, they're not telling the community the story of the business. And that's everything from like showing people where the site is going to be to the journey of the content of what does the build out look like week over week, month over month until you're open. Who are the people, who are the faces behind the business, the owner, the GM, the sales associate, the trainers, the instructors, right?
Mm,
And so I think that's a good place when you're out in the community to point back to so people start to become familiar with you, right? It's hard to walk into a Whole Foods and say, "Hey, we want to do a partnership with you," and they're like, "Who are you?" Right? Um, but when you can look at some of the anchors in the community
yeah.
and have a really good platform on your Instagram or Facebook, and show people what you're doing, you that's a must. That's a
Yeah.
non one. So I think you need to leverage social media when it comes to that, and then really you need to be persistent. You're going to get a lot of no's when you're walking in the stores. We all know that.
Right.
Um, but you got to just develop the relationship, and it's not all about selling them on yourself the first time you walk in there. You know, buy a shake at your mom and pop shake place and just build a relationship. You shouldn't be asking to do a partnership the first day.
Yeah,
It
and they're
doesn't
gonna ask you, "What do you do? Where are you at?" It's gonna naturally come up, but you're right. Just go spend time with people. Spend time in the community. That's one of my favorite parts, to be honest. It's like as much as we network on LinkedIn, I love the local. I love the local.
love it. 100%. I'm in total agreement.
Okay, so everyone got the specifics around what you're doing for pre-sale now. So everyone's plan just changed, right? You just scrapped your your original. You know what you got to do. You understand the cadences from point one through point five. Now, Kory, launch. Someone already joined or they're joining today. Everyone gets this, and by the way, most people don't even have an onboarding plan. What do the first 30, 60 days look like for a member that joins your platform?
So another huge mistake people make in the fitness industry, including myself back in the days, we've talked about a lot just already. Everything around new member acquisition, right?
Yeah.
Like we're doing all these things
Right.
to get 600 members before we even open or within the first 3 months, right? And we're hiring the right key people. What we're not talking about is retention and attrition.
Yes.
One of the
It's
first things
so
I asked, yeah, a person interviewing as a manager is like, what was your attrition rate on average? Most of the time, they have no idea what I'm talking about, or they're making up a number that doesn't make sense.
right.
Um, and so that's a big problem. And that just tells me like maybe they're a rock star salesperson, but they're not doing a great. It's not great when you're signing up 50 people a month, but you're losing 51. You're not making money doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and so what do we do to combat that? When a new member joins, again, a lot of people do this, so it's not like rocket science, but like you're getting a follow-up the next day. First of all, you're getting a follow-up from loyal staff as an automated text, but we have a
Right.
live person calling them as well, typically the instructor, sales associate, or GM, whoever's on staff that day. Um, you're getting a 7-day check-in, usually a text and a call as well, and then 30, 60, 90 days. Now, the great thing about a system like Loyal Snap or any other lead management system is we're setting up those buckets. So when a GM comes in that day, there's a 30-day member check-in bucket. It literally says member check-in 30 days. Anyone in that bucket, that's a task for now us to know to call them because they're 30-day. The reason why those are so important is the standard contract in fitness is a 90-day commitment. So if
Right.
you're checking in with them 30 days, 60 days, and especially 90 days, they're less likely to cancel. Doesn't mean they're not going to cancel. Attrition is always going to be there. It's can you manage attrition to be at its lowest percentage? But that's
Yeah.
sort of the cadence that we do
I
when
love
we
that.
attention.
No, that's really, really good. Yeah, and I think this year we're hearing a lot of that, especially with the technology now. And I'm curious, I love that Loyal Snap does a lot of the automations, right? Because those are important, those touch points. How from what you found, and maybe Loyal Snap or just in general, these member management tools and booking tools, from a reporting aspect, how does your team use that from just making sure we understand who's coming in? Frequency is a big one, and you come in knowing, the fitness side of things. That is so important. Frequency. The more
Yeah.
frequent people come, the stickier they are. More than likely, especially if you're bringing it with your instructor performer team, they're going to get results the more times they come. So how do you get your team to focus on that too? It's not just about new join. Yes, the onboarding is so important. How do we get them to return and keep returning every time they return? There's an extraordinary experience. How do you do that?
Yeah, it's part of those components, right? Where we talk about understanding your and measuring everything in terms of KPIs.
Right.
Reports to me are I love reports. Here's why. My lifetime days, I'm walking around, like I said, $20,000 a month. And when we needed to do something, it was based on my feeling.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I feel like we should do this promotion. It wasn't based in data
Yeah.
or extract. Like, I was like, and then I look back on those days, I'm like, that's not how you run a business. You never run a business based on feeling.
Hmm.
Like your data and your reporting is driving strategy, right? And so we look at a ton of reports and we use it as an educational tool that drives strategy, right? So utilization. Um, a great report we look at is like, and for those of you in the boutique fitness world, how many people are utilizing your service in each class? And the great example I always give is like, a lot of people are like, oh, we offer more classes than you. um, yeah, but if you offer, let's just use basic numbers. Let's say you offer 20 classes a week. I mean, that's nothing, but 20 classes a week, but they're 60% full. Wouldn't you rather offer 15 classes a week, but they're 90% full? Right. So it's like you wouldn't know that if you didn't look at a report.
Yeah.
So we're looking at lead reports, utilization reports, payroll is a huge thing, which I know you know more than me about, but like we want to keep payroll 30 to 35% of total gross sales because
Mhm.
it is a lot meat on the bone for our margins. And
Sure.
so not a lot of people even know that. Ask a manager, where do you want payroll to be? I guarantee you they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, it's
No,
so true. I see it all the time. I
all the time.
see it. I see it all the time.
And it
No.
goes back to, you have to hire the right people, but you have to invest and coach them up. So everything that I've talked about ties into each other, right?
Yeah.
Hiring the right people, getting the best and the best, investing in them, but taking time out of your day to make sure that you're investing in them by coaching them up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, do you not love this?
Oh, I
This is
love it. I love it. Now I'm going to go into, and then now you got me fired up because now I'm thinking even about pricing. I'm
mm,
curious what your thoughts are because we come from the world of Lifetime where, well, originally there was the whole bronze, silver, I forget, right? Gold, platinum. Now they do a thing. If people didn't realize this, it's more of a reservation price. You price to what the demographic, right? The disposable income, in a sense, will be. So it's different across the nation. If you didn't know,
yeah.
just from cost of living, right? Disposable income. So in your platform, how do you do that from a pricing? Is it standard across the country or is it city by city?
Yeah. Pricing is a great topic that I love talking about
Yeah,
because most owners are afraid of pricing. And what I
right.
mean,
So fun.
right? The number one thing you need to do first of all is due diligence. You can't be dumb about it, right? So there's some thought process that needs to go into like what are your competitors doing, right? So for us, we look at the top 5 to 10 places around where we're going to put up a studio, and we're looking at what their pricing is. We're also aligning a lot of that also with what our nearest studios that we own are, right? Because our members can go from one studio of ours to another if it's in a neighboring town, right? So you want to align there, and ultimately there are different tiers for a Club Pilates, for example. But that said, once you land on pricing, that's your pricing. Like
Right.
discounting everything. Like, yeah, we have a free intro. Every fitness business,
Oh, I love that.
high, but like, I have a good friend of mine, Mark. A lot of shout outs here. He opened up, I think, the first F45 on the East Coast. I'm here in New York. And so I used to go to his F45 even before I worked for F45 on this one strip. It's about a mile long. There's a Club Pilates, there's a Orange Theory, there's a Barry's Boot Camp, there's a, boxing
Actually,
place.
yeah.
There's, I think, like 13 different competitors.
Wow.
He was amongst the most expensive on that one strip. And I said, "Mark, what's your strategy behind that?" He's like, "Because I have the best service here. I have the best service and I have the best people. And so we don't budge from that. And if it's not for you, go down the road." And that's the philosophy. Like the number one thing is if you believe in your product and you do a fair amount of due diligence in terms of pricing, then that's your pricing.
Yeah.
I think my days at New York Sports Club, they probably, I think they're still around. No, no disrespect. I love my time working for them too, but like every month was like a discount. And like all you're doing is devaluing your brand, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I love about Apple, I talk about brands that I'm passionate about, like Starbucks, of course. And like I have an iPhone, I'll always have an iPhone, but iPhone isn't ranked number one as a phone.
Mm.
The reason why I love iPhone is because it's an identity, right? And the thing about Apple is they don't discount their phones. You know what they do? They just incentivize you. A great example is like Black Friday. They don't give you a discount on an iPhone or a computer. What they do is they're like, if you buy an iPad,
Bundle.
get $100 gift card with that.
Right.
So they're not devaluing the actual price of the iPad. And so that's what I think a lot of owners need to get. And by the way, I totally understand where an owner's coming from. They have their life savings many times
Sure.
invested in it. So it's like they're not willy nilly,
Right.
you know, but like stop being afraid of your price. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
So good. So good. So many applicable things we chatted about. The last topic I wanted to speak with you about is this whole like the whole thing, and you kind of chatted about it earlier around personal branding. You're one of the best, if not the best, personal branding expert when it comes to in this industry and other industries too. I'll tell you, I think more industries, more owners, more founders, more everybody needs to do this, especially on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is,
But yeah,
I mean, it's perfect for it. So walk me through just how did you get comfortable with the camera? Why do you see it as a competitive, if you see it as a competitive advantage? I do. I mean, I noticed you left and right, and another reason why found you, I'm following you. I'm like, oh, I gotta have this guy on the show, and now I'm a fan of the Corehouse brand and the platform. And then walk us through the behind the scenes because I can't imagine. I mean, you mentioned some of your team members on the marketing side. How do you do it all?
yeah. This is like a great softball for me. Thank you for asking that, right? Because I'm not afraid to answer this question. Listen, attention is the new currency.
Mm,
So there you go, clip it. There you go. Because I'm going to use that phrase all the time because it's true. Attention is currency. In the last 10 years, if you're not in front of the camera, right? Gone are the days of just doing digital ads where you see a stock photo and click on the learn more and then put your information in. Like that's all there and it needs to be done. And we love our digital marketing partners. Um, but at the end of the day, like you gotta make the uncomfortable comfortable. And I think that's where owners go wrong.
mhm,
How many times I've dealt with an owner and I'm like, okay, here's what you need to do. You're about to start pre-sale. I want you to film a 60-second video introducing yourself. And you're like, I'm not doing that.
right.
Like adamantly, like and sometimes I'll play around with them, Albert. I'll be like, no, you you have to do that. No, I don't feel comfortable. I'm like, well, then I don't know what to tell you because like you're the story. You're the story. I mean, they're
Right.
usable stories. My CEO is definitely afraid of the camera. So that's one battle that I headbutt with him about. And I understand, right? It is not cut from the same cloth I am when it comes to social media. Um, but the way he got into investing in Club Pilates and us starting CoreHaus is his wife has been taking Club Pilates classes for 7 years. 7 years. It's one of the things that she stuck with her for the last 7 years diligently and consistently. And so when he saw that passion, he's like, I need to visit what this business is all about. That's a compelling story,
Yeah.
right? And so although I'm out in front of CoreHaus a lot of times and in front of the camera, like I think the best ones are doing it because it becomes an extension of the brand.
Yeah.
Um, and
Oh,
I
I
think
love that.
and for me, it boils down to sort of 3 types of content. There's that, like, what I call that proof content, right? Where it's like, well, you said it, like, the behind the scenes. Show some great content on, what is the building and what's going into the building of your
Right.
studio. Not rocket science. Many of us do it. We're about to start doing that with two of our studios that are hitting pre-sale. If you're open, it's member wins. Like, what are some great member wins for Club Pilates? It's milestones, membership milestones. We film them. They sign the board, which is awesome, right? A lot of great brands do that. It's authority content, which is like you're the expert in the industry, right? What's some educational stuff you can give to the viewer that they're like, oh, that's why I should try a Club Pilates.
Mm,
It builds this, and this. Oh, all
yeah.
right. Um, and then here's the best one, and what we don't do enough of: operator transparency. What does that mean? What are you struggling with?
Yes.
Social media is such bullcrap in that sense, right?
I
Like, you're
agree.
seeing the best version of people. Like, what are you struggling with? Are you struggling with construction? And so you're getting delays. Is it um you're not getting a lot of members yet? That's all right. Are you finding it hard to hire people?
Mm,
Okay, put it out there, right? Make the uncomfortable comfortable. So
yeah.
when you do those things, I think that's all great currency, and that's what helps drive your brand and really brand consistency.
Yeah, that's gold. I love it. Well, I want to respect your time. I have one more question for you. This has been a pleasure, and I can talk shop with you all day. And then as I mentioned earlier, you are known to be authentic and direct. So if you can give a blunt message to those franchisors and franchisees and business owners in the fitness and wellness space listening today, what would that be specific to 2026? What do they need to go do and what do they need to go stop doing?
What they need to start doing, Albert, is to be visible. And we just talked about it.
Yeah.
Just be present. Be present, get yourself in front of a camera, tell your story to as many people as you can. And it might not be in front of the camera, it might be to the people that you're interviewing or that you're hiring.
Yeah.
And then that said, once you hire them, stop micromanaging. No one likes a micromanager. And for me, it never bothered me because I always knew that I was driving results. That's not everyone. If I'm being honest, it doesn't feel great to be micromanaged in the same sense. So be visible and stop micromanaging. And I think you're on your way to a successful business.
So good. Well, and also to those that are listening to this and you want to come on the show, it's pretty dang easy. Just shoot me a DM if you want me to promote your brand and tell yours and get you to tell your story. Comment now. If it's Kory, man, I fought tooth and nail. He wouldn't
Yeah.
like I'm too busy. I'm just kidding. It was also easy because you're an amazing person. So I really appreciate your time on here. This has been awesome. For those that want to learn more about you, Kory, I mean, I want everyone to go on LinkedIn, check out the videos. I love what you do around the team member experience. I know you shout everyone out, your energy, it's nonstop. How can people learn more about you and CoreHaus Fitness?
Yeah, just go to corehausfitness.com. You can see it right there. We spell house. You got to be a little nuanced nowadays. You don't want to
I
spell house HOUSE. I mean, how boring is that?
Yeah, yeah.
HAUS, right? So
Like
corehausfitness.com. I'm at CoryFit, KoryFit. But we love to engage with people. We're always hiring. We're on our way to 100 locations. So,
wow.
by all means, hop on the website, check us out, send in your resume, and we're good to go. And Albert, great job. It's not easy to host a podcast, right? And to do it with style and a big shout out to you.
Appreciate that.
It's one of the reasons I wanted to hop on. I think you did.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. No, this is a lot of fun when I get to talk about what I'm passionate about and learn. As the audience is doing, Kory, I'm learning too. And so thank you. I've taken a lot of nuggets on this and I will rewatch this so that I can go and then share so that other franchisors and franchisees and business owners, you're right, that put their PG and they're personally guaranteeing it. They're putting their families, house and wealth and all of that behind their baby. And so I want to make sure that they're successful. And as I always say, for those fitness and wellness operators that want more of the CFO level, the finance level clarity, like cash visibility, cash flow, unit economics, pricing models, right? Mapping out what Kory was talking about on the front end and make sure you have the right plan for pre-sale and all of that, reach out to me. It's strategointel.com or even easier, just DM me. I'll take a
Yeah.
look. So this has been another episode of the Owner Seat Podcast. I'm your host, Albert Ramos. And as I always say, these episodes drop every Monday and Friday at 8 a.m. Central. Kory, such a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I hope to meet you in person at one of your events here soon. Maybe it's the 100th. Let me know
I
when the 100th milestone is, and I'll be there.
I owe you a popper, but what you should do, you want some content today, Albert? I'm going to give you one last piece
I
of
love it.
advice. You should film yourself cleaning up all that confetti because I've been there, man. I've been there. Like I started to do the poppers in the studio, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I got to clean all this up.
My wife already left the vacuum over here. She's like, yeah, no. It's all over the place. Hey, these are rockets, man. They're awesome.
The cannons. So
Yeah.
they
Well, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching and listening.